Government and income inequality. Did you know the top 1% of the world's population owns more wealth than the other 99% combined? The shocking statistic really shows how the government's involvement could change this narrative. As you can see, 142 times the amount of the bottom 99. Top 1% makes about 22 million a year, and the average income for the rest is 158,000. There are a number of ways that government could involve themselves to try and even out the wealth, including easier access to financial services, raising minimum wage, and investing more in education. First one, financial service access. One of the bigger ways that government can get involved with the issue of income inequality is to create easier access to financial services. In an article created by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, a government-funded website published in February of 2022, it talks about how families with less financial stability struggle to get bank accounts due to fees and other financial needs they're not capable of reaching. In the article, it says low income, less educated, and minority households are less likely to have bank accounts, which are essential for households' financial well-being. People have cited high fees, minimum balance requirements, and other reasons why they don't have bank accounts. And this is also on that website. It talks about income less than 15,000. It's about 50% for unbanked and fully banked, and then 15 to 30,000 goes up a little bit. It's still low, and then 30,000 or more, it's much higher. Requirements to open a bank account: minimum deposit, social security number, driver's license, and contact information. Creating access to financial services can be done in many different ways, but there are other ways that the government could involve themselves too, whether it's on top of creating easier access to financial services or on its own. Raising minimum wage. Something like raising the minimum wage could help a lot of people who may be living paycheck to paycheck or even in poverty that could really use a pay increase. In an online article created by Anton L.V. Avancina with a Master's of Science with the National Library of Medicine, published in August of 2021, mentions how the effect of income inequality and the low income of people affects them not only financially but health-wise as well. In the article, it states, because income is a significant, well-documented determinant of health, the effects of low income and income inequality are reflected in population health. With people making minimum wage, it makes it very difficult for them to afford to even live. Adults who maybe not be able to get higher paying jobs need to pay for things like car, house, insurance for those, and maybe even take care of their kids. As you can see, minimum wage in Georgia and Wyoming are only $5.15, and in West Virginia $8.75, Minnesota $8.85, and the highest minimum wage is Washington at $16.28, and California and New York both at $16. As it says in Anjali Bhatt's article in the Peterson Institute for International Economics, published in November of 2020, it says raising the federal minimum wage would help the lowest paid workers in states that have not already introduced their own higher minimum wages. Opponents say raising the minimum wage would burden employers and reduce the number of jobs available, but several studies find there's little effect on employment. The statement counters most of the arguments against raising the minimum wage, and they used research to back it up, or they even included links to the research. This helps show raising the minimum wage would help more than hurt the economy, and it's something the government should take into consideration. Minimum wage could help the economy and demographic, regardless of age, gender, race, or any other description, especially those living in poverty or near it. But investing into education would mainly help for the future and help young kids and students gain a little traction as they move into adulthood. With the government investing more into education, it can lower the long-lasting debt that most students get after going to college. College is often looked at in many different ways, most people thinking it's good for you, but some people say it's bad because it puts you in debt for most of your life. If the government were to eliminate that debt students are supposed to pay back, college would be looked at much differently, and so many more people could afford an education and be able to work towards a better job in their future. In the same article mentioned before, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the graph can help show that education can make a huge difference. No high school degree, it's at about 50% unbanked versus fully banked. High school degree or more goes up a lot again. Many kids want to go to college because they want to get a quality education and be able to live comfortably. What most students don't realize is they'll be paying off that debt for practically the rest of their lives, and a large portion of kids in America can't afford the tuition, so they're forced to go a different route, often going straight into the workforce. In the Peterson Institute article mentioned before, it says, in the United States, 90% of children with parents in the top 10% of the income distribution will likely attend college. For children with parents in the poorest 10%, less than a third will. American families are more burdened by college tuition costs than families in Europe, where higher education is more likely to be free or subsidized. This is important to show how college education is not as affordable as it should be. Many adults like to think younger generations don't want to work, and although it would be a dream for everyone to not work, that's not exactly the problem. There are many reasons why young students are unable to attend college and get good jobs, but a big reason for that is cost. Tuition is way too expensive, and a little bit of government assistance and funding for college education could go a long way. With more government involvement, the lasting issue of income inequality can at least become a little easier to manage. Through things like easier access to financial services, raising minimum wage, and investing more into the education system, the government could help distribute the wealth a little better, saving up many people who never got a chance to live up to their potential. If the government attempts to involve themselves a little more in distributing the wealth a little better, it can change people's lives and give them the little hope they need, and open many opportunities for people that they thought they would never be able to achieve. It just takes a little effort from the government.